like many people, I think my experience with Outkast came through hearing Hey Ya as a kid. Hey Ya is one of the very few kind of rap songs I think that has transcended into the pop sphere. In at least I mean obviously many of the obviously right now in the present pop sphere it's all rap, but at the when it came out in 2004 it transcended into the pop sphere of just where it became not, it didn't become rap anymore, it became popular music in a way that was internationally completely beloved by everyone. No one does not like Hey Ya. And when I think I like to say I was maybe in middle school or at the end of middle school, sort of high school maybe. I had listened to for the first time. I was a big fan of Hey Ya, of course, as everyone is. And I got curious about Outkast's music, so I listened to Speaker Box Love Below, the double album, with Big Boy and Andre 3000 have two sides of the album. Big Boy gets Speaker Box, and Andre 3000 has the Love Below, and it is it was when I first heard it such an incredible experience for me because I think it might have been the first double album I ever listened to, but also I was so in love with I was in love with both sides, but I specifically was in love with the Love Below. It was so sexy and so sensual and just so there's so much funk in it. And I realize now in retrospect, having listened to much more music, I realize he kind of really heavily, I don't want to say rips, but he really takes a lot from Prince. Andre 3000 does. But it's still a great album. Ever since then, one of my favorite songs of all time has been Roses, on that side of that double album. And I'm also a big fan of Speaker Box. Speaker Box is so instrumentally engaging and fun, and I'm a big fan of Flip Flop Rock with Jay-Z and a bunch of other songs. Ghetto Music is such an incredible. I remember when I first heard Ghetto Music, it kind of blew me away. I was like, what is this sound? What is this? How is this music? I mean, in a good way, in the best of ways. Just how have I never heard anything like this before? And this is incredible. That was blown away by the Love Below Speaker Box. So it kind of has a soft spot in my heart, and I think at some point I had listened to Stankonia as well, but not very much into depth. But recently, I just a few days ago, I thought I think I had nothing to do. I finished all my school requirements. I'm about to graduate. I was like, and I started reading all these articles about Ray Shremmer. Ray Shremmer released a triple album, and the album cover as well as the structure of the album resembles Speaker Box of Love Below, so it's like a direct Outkast reference. And people were saying that Ray Shremmer is the new Outkast or something like that, and I'm a big Outkast fan, at least from the one album or two albums I've listened to. I've always been a big Outkast fan from those works, and I was surprised by this Ray Shremmer thing, and I re-looked at the cover. It does look quite similar to Love Below Speaker Box. So I thought, so I was planning to listen to the Ray Shremmer triple album, but I thought, before I get into Ray Shremmer triple album, I should re-familiarize myself with Outkast. So I listened to I went through their albums and I listened to their first three albums again. But I'm gonna talk about just the first one because I might do all three because they're all amazing albums. But Outkast's debut album is Southernplayalisticaddilacmuzik in 1994, and I think they were around 17, 18 recording the stuff. And it is just such an incredible album. I think when you look at it historically, it comes into the cusp of what was coming up as this kind of East Coast versus West Coast rap. Very dominating the charts, not charts as well, but dominating like the youth hip hop scene, where you get on the East Coast you get people like obviously from the early 90s and the late 80s you get people like De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang Clan, all this stuff, right? And then on the West Coast in the early 90s you were getting NWA, you were getting Dr. Dre, The Chronic. You were getting Snoop Dogg. So there's and this is before the whole, and this is even before you get the whole East versus West. You get the whole Nas, Biggie, Tupac thing going on. But back then, just the early kind of bit of this '90s rap, it was mostly East versus West. So you get someone like at least this duo from the South, from Atlanta, Georgia. You get this group, these two nerdy black kids who are into funk music, and inspired by some other Southerners like UGK, but in some degree they create their own style apart from that of East and West. They popularize a southern rap sound that really from this point on the rap game is never the same again. Obviously today you get a very, very big, Atlanta rap today is very much kind of indistinguishable from popular music with the rise of trap over there. But the first, not maybe one of the first, rap geniuses from the South are Outkast. You got Big Boy and Andre 3000. Big Boy kind of more, perhaps he's more off the cuff, more like, or maybe he's like rawer, maybe more in your face, perhaps. It's hard. I don't know. It's hard to really distinguish them. They're both great artists. Andre 3000 is more. He sings more. He is more consciously lyrical. They're both great lyricists, but Andre 3000 kind of has this way in which he, you can tell that every single word is very, very much well thought out and planned out and work together. I think I actually read an interview where they say, Big Boy, the difference between Big Boy and Andre 3000. Andre 3000 said that Big Boy freestyles more, or not freestyles, or he says stuff, he's more maybe freer with his writing style, and Andre 3000 is very controlled, which you can really tell from the music. And in this first album, they're 17, 18, they're at the end of high school. I'm not sure what their educational background was, but they were making incredible songs. Ain't No Thang, but Chicken Wing, incredible song, incredible. One of the most iconic, I think, opening tracks. I mean, it's not the opening track, but one of the opening tracks on the album. But like an iconic introduction to a rap artist, I think. You got songs like Call of the Wild, Southernplayalistic Cadillac Music. The title track of the album is such a jam. It's so catchy. I've been listening to all the Outkast albums, chronologically ever since I started doing this again, and I always go back to Southernplayalistic Cadillac Music because it's just, I never get sick of it. It's an incredible song. Players Ball, great song. All of these songs, Claim and True, Club, Get Up, Get Out, I think has one of the most poignant lyrical statements on the album, which is an album that is kind of lyrically and thematically not as cohesive and aggressively thematic as just the next few albums, especially Aquemini, of course 80 Aliens, but it may not be as consistently thematic, but Get Up, Get Out, I think, is the most the closest thing you get to a lesson in the album or something. It's like talking about you have to get up, you have to get out. If you want to have anything done, you kind of have to just stand up and do it, and stop getting high and just go at it and be the best you can be. Incredible album. I think Outkast is so underrated, and obviously I listened to this in the partly because of the whole Ray Shremmer thing, but also because I heard about the Andre 3000 dropped 2 tracks over the weekend for Mother's Day, and they were both incredible, so I knew I had to just go back to his music. You know, I'll be listening to the others more again, but I think this album might be my favorite of the year, maybe. 1994. Actually, I'm not sure. I think Ready to Die might have come out in 94. Ready to Die is kind of a perfect album. But, you know, it's one of the best albums, I think, of the 90s. Not just in rap, but in general. This Southernplayalistic Cadillac music. And, you know, the album cover looks quite dated. Some of the songs may sound dated as well, but if you have any inclination to Atlanta rap, to Southern rap, to funk rap, to experimental hip hop, you can't skip out on Outkast. And as I have experienced recently, you know, it worked very well for me to go in order, so I'd recommend going in order as well. Even though I started with, you know, Love Below, I went back, and it has been very fruitful for me, and I highly recommend Outkast, Southernplayalistic Cadillac Music from 1994. Even if you're not a fan of rap, I think you will appreciate their attention to lyricism and storytelling. So yeah, great album. Definitely check it out. And if you like it, definitely listen to all the other albums as well.